Good morning and welcome to the Red Ned Show, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. I'm your host, Jay Edgar, and I am joined once again by the returning Elaine. Elaine, welcome back. How was your week off?
My camping weekend was amazing, but it took like 3 days for me to catch up on sleep.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was unseasonably cold, so the first night was a little uncomfortable, and did not get very much sleep.
Yeah, I actually did go and do a little bit of camping myself that weekend, just for a day, because I came back and finished out the show. And thank you to John once again for coming back and hanging out with us and keeping me company during last week as well, while Elaine was taking vacation. But yeah, it seems like the entire world has blown up since John was here, and especially since you've been here and back. So we've got a lot of stuff to catch up, especially over the weekend. Did you notice that? They just started dumping shit. Probably about midday on Friday, they just started dumping all kinds of shit all over the place, and that's 3/4 of what our schedule is today. So it's going to be all of this and more over on the Reddit. Before I get into selling the wares, I just have to come out and say I fucking hate Pride Month, officially. I was okay with it up until this month, but this first couple days was just a bunch of people who were doing nothing but arguing as to whether or not kitty diddlers are involved in Pride, including this picture that came up here. A story, and this is from Suraj Hashmi. A story in 4 pictures. The first tweet comes out. As Happy Pride Month has begun, I would like to share my thread as to why MAPS, minor attracted persons, are valid, a part of the LGBTQAM+ community. And then she goes on to talk about how she's been in relationship with people of many ages, including a boy who was 15, and tells how much they were in love, and the story ends with a suspended account.
Do we have audio of a wood chipper? Can we use that? We need to have that like on deck for things like this, because no. I would venture, I know, I wouldn't venture to guess, but I know that the vast majority of people that are in the LGBTQ community are absolutely against MAPs.
Hey, guess what I just found?
A wood chipper sound?
Having this third screen has helped out the show immensely at this point, and having enough processor that can handle. Yes, having enough processor to handle all 3 screens and all 3 windows and everything else is too. You'll be amazed by the production values that have changed. John was amazed when he was on here last week. It's amazing how much more that I can do here and how much better we can do with the SAW programming. So anyway, we got to sell the wares and we got to get on to the big news of the week here. So thanks everybody who came by. We are streaming live right now to YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook on both of our pages. We're not on Periscope anymore because I shut that down. And we're also on Trovo. So you catch us on any of those platforms. If you're on either the Facebook or the YouTube, they are linked in the description for your convenience. So you can go and check all of those out and come and hang out with us over on any of those. We're almost monetized on Twitch. We're at 2.8 average viewers. So if we can get to 3 average viewers per stream, they will monetize us. So look forward to that as well. You can come back and hang out with us on any of those platforms. Or if you can't catch us live, you can catch us back on demand over on YouTube and over on BitChute.com. You can go catch us on both of those platforms. Everything is linked in the description. You can go check us out, or you can check out our friends over on the upcoming Freedom Scoop Media Group. We have a new webpage coming still, but you can still go and take some time and check out the Freckles and Brit Show, the R-Rated Conservative, the Breakdown with Birkenhoff, the Daily Ignoramus, and the Generational Gap. And go check all of them out. Actually, might be hosting the Generational Gap coming up this week. Not this week, but in the next couple of weeks as well, because Robert is closing on a new property out in the sticks in Florida.
Yay!
So he is not going to be able to do his regular hosting duties, and well, they always call on me when they need a new host. So, well, it'll be busy.
Time to return the favor.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a busy few weeks for me as we come up and as we get into this. But yeah, we definitely look forward to this here. Let's look. Well, we asked how your week was. We asked how everything else was. Let's do some news, shall we? Let's do some catch up, because there is some stuff that we do have to catch up on from the past couple weeks. We already talked about this disgusting MAP. God, I hate Pride Month. If it was just what it used to be, up until like 2 years ago, it would be all cool because I don't really care who you screw unless it's a kid.
Oh,
then I have a problem.
Quest said MAPs should map their way to a long walk off short pier. Quest, I think you missed our wood chipper sound effect for just this occasion.
Yeah. So
would you play it again, Ed?
I gotta find that window, but yes, I can do that. I'm going to get a Stream Deck, and then I can just hit a button and do that, which will be even more fun and probably even more dangerous as we go on here. So we saw that. I got this one here from CNN. This is just breaking over the weekend, and surprisingly, nobody talked about it. A couple of mainstreamers came up with it, but this isn't getting the same coverage as the kneeling of the neck and the St. George and everything else. But protesters are gathering for a second night in Minneapolis after law enforcement kills suspect. So CNN is talking about what's happening here. They're burning down whatever they can. What apparently happened was a couple of U.S. Marshals were serving a warrant for arrest for somebody with a firearms warrant, and the person with the firearms warrant produced a handgun and shot at U.S. Marshals. So they returned fire.
Okay.
But I was very interested with this because of the lack of coverage. This happened on Friday, and had you heard about it before this?
No.
No, exactly. And just this isn't like Derek Chauvin and St. George. This isn't like Jacob Blake. Because it's U.S. Police officers and not the ones that they don't control on the local level. And, hey, we don't want to talk about this. It was also interesting, and I talked about this morning as well, but they were going out trying to break down the George Floyd protest center in Minneapolis this weekend.
I did see that.
The city came in and took the barricades down, and all the people that were protesting started piling up pallets again. Jacob Fry, just take that one as an L. Just let that block go. Direct traffic around and just let that one go. You're not going to win this one.
Take the L.
Take the L. Yeah, it's. What do you think about the fact that there is no reporting on this?
I mean, there was
a little bit, but not like we saw with St. Jacob. I could say St. George, but I can say St. George, but that was actually a completely different situation. The St. Jacob one would be more apt because he did produce a knife after fighting off the police officers, and he admitted to the fact that he was attempting to go back after the police officers. So I think that would be a little bit more apt comparison, and we got wall-to-wall news coverage of that. And this was, a CNN and a Washington Post, and maybe a couple local outlets.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, anyway, that's what we see from that. Stormy Daniels is back in the news because, of course, she is. According to The Hill, Stormy Daniels says her attorney is in contact with prosecuting. Wow, I can't talk. This is going to be a long show. Stormy Daniels says her attorney is in contact with prosecutors investigating the Trump Organization. So you missed out on this week. Today. You missed out on that last week, where they have upgraded the Trump Organization from a civil suit into a criminal investigation. They've impaneled the grand jury, and now Stormy Daniels is talking to them.
Fun. No, I did see that Swalwell introduced a lawsuit, and I was like, what are you doing?
I don't know. This is turning more and more into the Federal Apprentice as we go along, and that's not to mention the fact that we already had 4 years of the Federal Apprentice.
Right.
So, well, I guess that's just breaking the day. So, yeah. We'll probably talk more about that.
Swamp things.
We'll probably talk a little bit more about that next week, so we will go check on that. Bill Maher was up over the weekend. He rails against free college and trashes higher education as a grift like Scientology with overpaid babysitters. According to The Blaze, HBO host Bill Maher delivered a scathing rebuke of colleges on Friday, calling higher education a racket that sells you a very expensive ticket to the upper middle class. In Maher's New Rule segment of his real-time TV show, he argued against President Biden's American Family Plan, which the host said would waste hundreds of billions of taxpayer money so everyone can go to college and billions more for subsidized childcare so our kids can go to school while we go to school. He said liberals are wrong for believing that the more time humans spend in classrooms staring at blackboards, the better. Elaine, why am I agreeing with Bill Maher?
Well, but the thing is that he's correct on his original premise in that it's devaluing a degree.
Right.
What he's not correct on is that it's going to be your ticket to the upper middle class. Because
I called that out earlier this morning too.
Yeah.
I believe my exact words were, it's your ticket to the upper middle class unless you've got a gender studies degree and are working at Starbucks for the rest of your life.
Well, there's plenty of degrees that I have friends who got lots of varied degrees when I went to college. And gosh, I can't think of a single one of them that's actually using the degree that they went to school for, except for the one who got a degree in like actuarial science, because that's pretty specific. But everybody who was like a graphic designer or like communications or any of that stuff, like none of them work the types of jobs that you would think someone with that degree would work. I kind of do, but not really. Like at this point in my life, I'm doing so much marketing and social media management that I would have been better off getting a marketing degree instead of a political science degree. But whatever. It's like two things just getting mixed together.
Yeah, and I mean, I look at the same thing. I went to mechanic school, and, well, I'm about to go sell real estate, and I produce this. That's where the majority of my time goes into. Plus, I do a little bit of warehousing job on the back. So, yeah, I can see where you're going with that. And, I always make the apt comparison where I went up to an accounting firm in Madison one day because I wanted to use their building as a backdrop in a book that I was writing. So I actually wanted to look around the building. And I just out of curiosity, I said, I'm kind of disappointed with my job. What does it take to come work here? And the lady said, oh, well, you need a bachelor's degree. And I said, oh, well, in what? If I did want to go back to school, she said, it doesn't matter. You just need a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, they don't care what you have it in. And that was sort of my reasoning for choosing political science. I started out in speech and language pathology. And I was told, in the first semester in one of the intro classes, which I'm actually glad they did that. They said this early, that one of the teachers brought this up. She basically told us all, if you don't get a master's, this career path is not going to go anywhere for you. You are going to need a master's at the minimum. And right then I was like, shit, it's too late to drop out and sign up for different classes because I'm not signing up for 6 years of school. I didn't want to do 6 years of school. So then I switched to journalism. And then I found out that PR, which is what I wanted to do, was routed through the journalism school and not the business school like it should have been. So it was a very weird structure. And one of the advisors was like, this is not really going to be public relations for you. It's going to be journalism, but not public relations. So I was like, this is pointless. Screw it. I'm just going to take the classes that I really like. And all of those are history and political science. And so I'll just make political science my major. And that's what I did. There's plenty of people like that had to switch majors 2 or 3 times before they graduated. But yeah, it definitely is not an automatic ticket to upper middle class by any means.
Yeah, and you're right on that. And it's the argument too. And I said that when I talked about student loan forgiveness, when I made that solo video about it. I said it's not about the money for these people, but if you did make these forgivable in bankruptcy, the banks wouldn't make the loans, and the colleges would panic because they wouldn't have the asses in the seats anymore. And then they would start bringing those tuition prices way the fuck down.
Why do you think they're mandating that people have to get vaccinated now? Because they can't justify the cost of having you pay tuition to go to classes online. So they have to get you back on campus to justify that cost. So they're requiring that you must be vaccinated in order to do that, because that's the only way they can have these 300-person lecture halls full of people and not feel bad about it.
World's most expensive streaming service.
Exactly.
All right, we got to keep going here because we got a bunch to go over here. Did you see that Apple made a protest letter? And they sent it off to the heads of Apple. The employees of Apple made a protest letter and sent it off to the heads of Apple to say, we don't want to come into work anymore. We just want to work from home.
Oh, look at them doing the redress of grievances. That's so cute.
I think it's awesome because, for most of the jobs that they're doing, unless they're actually putting together iPhones, they can work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not putting together iPhones because the Uyghurs in fucking China are doing that.
I wonder how many of them realize that the PRO Act would totally kill their job.
I don't know, but it's interesting to sit back and watch this all happen and go down. But I said right at the beginning, I said this is going to change the way the office works, and this is going to kill the modern American city too. It really is.
Right.
So yeah, they put they organized it through a Slack channel. They put the letter out, and they're going to try and demand that they get to work from home. And I am in full support of this. I think this is awesome. I think they should. I think everybody, if they're doing data entry, unless they're unloading trucks or doing something like building stuff in-house, they should be able to work from home.
I think so too.
And it's going to change the family structure, it'll change the city structure, and it'll probably change a lot of the demographics in this country too.
Yes, because now you will be able to live where you want to live versus what's close to work.
So we will see what happens with that. Speaking of travel and commuting and all the other fun stuff that happens with this, United Airlines says they will buy 15 ultra-fast airplanes from startup Boom Supersonic. So there's a startup that's happening. I believe they're where the hell did they say they were out of? I don't. It doesn't say, but yeah, 15 of them. They're going to be sustainable. They're going to be zero net carbon. They're not going to be electric, but they're going to be sustainable fuel, and it's going to cut, I believe they said the 8-hour flight across the ocean from New York to London is going to be in 4 hours on this. So it'll cut all your travel times in half.
Nice.
It's probably going to be mad expensive to begin with, but, once they get more of these up in the air, they're probably going to start taking some of the costs down too. And maybe by that time, because it's not going to be in effect until 2029, you won't have to wear a mask to get on one of them either.
Nice. I like it. I like the idea.
Yeah, so we will see what happens with this. It looks like the startup is pretty excited. I'm excited to see what happens with it. I'm excited to see the new technology. And I said the same thing when I read this one on Contemporary myself. It's not that, I stick with the American Gas V8 because, I'm anti-electric vehicle. I think electric vehicles are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they perform in the cold. I don't know how they perform in anything else, so I stick with what I know, but as we go on to more technology and it gets more reliable and more people buy them, they're cool, and I like the idea. So, and electric planes too, and electric semis. We can make everything electric as long as we can have the reliability.
Right.
I do like my truck, but the electric stuff, that's going to be cool too. Speaking of planes, Kamala Harris has safely returned to Andrews Air Force Base this weekend after her plane had technical issues while departing for her first foreign trip to go talk to not Costa Rica, but to Guatemala and Mexico to decide what to do to keep people from coming to our border.
Did you see her remarks today?
I have not seen her remarks today.
Oh, do I have news for you?
Oh, tell me.
This is an update, basically, to this story from last week. So this was last week, and I'm just going to pull it up on my phone because I want to make sure that I say it exactly how she said it.
Okay.
She said, "We, as one of our priorities, will discourage illegal migration. And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back."
That doesn't sound very Biden-esque.
Exactly.
They're fans.
Welcome to Trump 2.0.
They're fans. Their fans are definitely.
I'm waiting for people to I'm watching the quote tweets on this tweet. I tweeted it. So if you guys want to see it, it's on my feed on Twitter. I quote tweeted it. And I'm watching the quote tweets because I'm like, when are the Democrats going to have a freaking meltdown over this? Silence.
Yeah,
utter
probably.
Silence. All the libertarians are going nuts because we're just like, we literally told you, this was not going to be any different. They're literally exactly the same. And they keep pointing that out. And all the Republicans are like, oh, cool.
They're not exactly the same.
Silence.
They're not exactly the same. There are no mean tweets.
Okay, no mean tweets. Kids are still in cages, though.
Yes. Royal Caribbean has reversed this week, and they said they will not require passengers on the U.S. cruises to be vaccinated. Royal Caribbean International will no longer require any of its cruise passengers to be vaccinated for COVID-19, as it had previously planned to do, because Ron DeSantis said, okay, you can do that, but you will pay a $5,000 fine if you do for every instance. And they decided that wasn't worth it. When you get a ticket for $300 for 5 days, or whatever the hell it is. So, that's reverse. Going to let you get onto the boat, and I think they're going to be very, very busy as they come into cruise season. So, we will watch what happens there, and we will watch my co-host freeze up as well. Oh, you're back.
You froze up for a second, too.
Huh. It says my internet connection is unstable. That's weird. Anyway.
Uh-oh.
News stops for nobody. So yes, Royal Caribbean has set to be very, very busy coming up on this cruise season. So what do you think of that?
I bet they are. I bet they're going to be very busy because everyone is done sitting at home in their house.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've been doing a lot more traveling, and I didn't even stop, but I'm still doing more because, for the most part, I sit here and I look at these 3 screens every day, and I'm like, okay, I want to go to my mom and dad's.
I traveled more. I definitely traveled more in 2020 than I have this year. But I've flown a lot more in 2020 than I did this year. But
yeah, but you were on a campaign.
I know, but traveling during COVID was actually great.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
There was no one on the planes. It was awesome. Aside from having to wear a mask, it was awesome to sit in a 3-seat row and be in the middle seat and have no one next to you on either side, or sit in the window and only have someone in the aisle and no one in between you. Like, hello, extra leg room.
Yeah. You'll like this one because I know that you like Kaylee. Kaylee McEnany got to shoot back over Jen Psaki being in Vogue coming up.
What?
Jen Psaki's going to be in Vogue.
Who says I like Kaylee?
You liked Kaylee.
She was okay.
You liked Kaylee. You said so.
I liked her spunk.
See?
She was feisty. But I didn't necessarily approve of the job that she had, even though somebody has to do it.
Yeah. Well, according to Fox News, McEnany, women in Biden admin get glowing profiles after hit pieces for female Trump officials. Former White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany responded Friday to reports that successor Jen Psaki was having her picture taken by celebrity photographer Annie Leibovitz for a magazine profile, noting she and other women in the Trump admin never received inquiries for magazine profiles or spreads. Because most of the people in the mainstream media were, for the most part, telling everybody that they were sadistic Nazis who did nothing but lie for the evil sadistic Nazi.
Pretty much. And then Trump banned them all from the White House.
Yes.
I don't know what makes him think that they were going to do him any favors after that point. Like, none.
I don't know. It's all a clown show at this point. I don't know why we still talk about it the way that it is. But, I like that McEnany pushed back and pointed it out.
Yeah, except Kayleigh McEnany is totally irrelevant right now.
Yeah, she's on outnumbered. That's about it. But either way, it's an interesting way to put that. And that the mainstream media came out and said, hey, Kayleigh, what did you think about this? Jen Psaki's going to be in the magazines. What did you think about this? Just trying to get that spicy take.
Yep. Spicy takes are in.
Did you see the Texas voting law story this week?
Which one?
A couple of them in the same vein. So Texas Republicans were putting together another voter bill to make sure that the vote is fair and legal in Texas, or so they say. And the Democrats in Texas walked off the floor. Now, this actually was effective. It wasn't just them coming out and throwing a temper tantrum. That denied Republicans the quorum, and the bill actually can't push through.
Okay.
And Greg Abbott came out and said that he's going to look at suspending pay for congresspeople if they're going to come out and do this and not do their jobs. And as much as I disagree with it, because I actually agree with the contents of the bill, the Democrats kind of did their jobs.
Yeah,
They represent their constituencies. They stopped the bill that their constituencies wanted stopped. They did their jobs. I may not like how they did it, but they did it.
Right. But here's the fine line that you have to walk when you're in that situation is what your constituents want kind of doesn't matter if what they want is completely unconstitutional.
That is fair. And I get where you're coming from with that as well. But they stopped the bill from going through, which is what the people that they represented wanted. So Abbott might not like it, but we will have more debate on this, and they will see if they can come to some sort of compromise. Abbott is trying to call a special session into place so they can, I guess, force the Democrats to come in for quorum for this. I don't know how this is going to work, and I don't know the Texas Constitution, so...
I don't either.
That's what we're going to see coming from that. Memorial Day brought out a lot of images of flags around the country, including images that some people didn't quite find tasteful. According to Fox 61, crane cable at CCSU perceived as noose. University says it's not, but will remove it.
It's what?
Crane cable at CCSU perceived as noose. University says it's not, but they will remove it. So one of the cranes that, because none of the construction crews work on Memorial Day, obviously, they hung an American flag from one of their crane cables, which the cranes out here doing the interstate over here do the same thing. Right. I'm used to seeing that. But apparently there was a loop in the bottom. I actually got a picture of that. Let me grab that here. There it is. There was a loop in the bottom underneath the flag, and people perceived it as being a noose. Because every time there's a rope with a loop on it, it's a noose. At this point. And it's racist, of course.
I mean, it does look like one.
This one I'll give them. It kind of does. But this one stems from what we saw from Bubba Wallace last year and what we saw from Jussie Smollett and everything else. Every time somebody finds a loop, it's a noose. And
I kind of agree with the company. It's like, oh shit, that was bad. We probably should have realized that before we put it up there. We'll take it down. But it's not what you thought it was. Like, I get that, but it does really look like one. Especially given the scale that it would have been, like the Bubba Wallace thing. It's like that was small enough to like fit around your hand kind of thing, because that's literally what it was made for. You to just grab it and pull on it.
Yep.
This would have been so large that it could have, like, proportionally, it would have been perceived as the size of a noose as well. And I think that's what makes it different.
I was a little bit surprised by the scale of this one as well, because usually when they do it here, they hook the other end of the cable to the top of the crane so it doesn't flap around in the wind and blow around. It's essentially a makeshift flagpole at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So they pull it taut and they put the flag up there and there it goes. But this was just out there blowing in the wind with a flag on the end of it. So I was a little surprised by that too. But yeah, they took it down and they found a noose in something else. Honorable mention for surprise stupidity. This one didn't make it because something came up over the weekend that put this one to shame, but I still thought we wanted to talk about it. Democratic lawmaker calls for gender equality in crash test dummies.
What?
Democratic lawmaker calls for gender equality in crash test dummies.
Who and where?
Eleanor Holmes Norton of Washington, D.C., the non-voting delegate to the House of Representatives, called and demanded that the crash test dummies are too male and they need equal representation.
So she's extra useless? Is that what it is?
Actually, I read into this, and the headline makes this sound a lot worse than it does. To be completely honest, with the crash test dummies that they're using, I mean, there's two things on your chest that aren't on my chest that you're going to need to be testing when you're going into crash. Women are generally a little bit lighter than men, especially body weight to body weight, because less muscle density. So the crash does affect women differently. So I can see where she's coming from, but the headline just puts it out there as, yes, we need more equality into this.
So just crash test dummy needs to need Boobs?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. But that, I mean, well, that could have been a great headline.
Yeah.
Democratic lawmaker says add boobs to crash test dummies. Like, that's great. People would have read that.
Do you think ultra-Christian Glenn Beck would have put that in his publication, though? This was the Blaze, keep in mind.
Probably not.
On a more serious note off of this one from Fox News, sister of pilot killed on 9/11 slams comparison between Capitol riot and 2001 terrorist attacks.
Ooh.
So the sister of a slain pilot from September 11, 2001 slammed the comparison between 9/11 terrorist attacks and the January 6th Capitol riot in a Wall Street Journal column published on Thursday. And I kind of get this because that is what they've been doing for the past few months is really diminishing what happened on September 11th a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, New York City was shut down for weeks upon weeks. And the city that never sleeps, they were shut down for weeks because of what happened there. And the rest of the country was put on fear for 10 fucking years. We've been in the Middle East for 20 years.
We literally justified a bottomless pit of a war because of it.
Meanwhile, Mike Pence and all the Democratic senators and Republican senators went back to work an hour later on January 6th.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah, I get where she's coming from this, and absolutely, I think that's an apt thing for her to say. She lost somebody off of this, and the only people that really lost somebody as a direct result of what happened on January 6th was the family of Ashley Babbitt. Everything else was adjacent.
Right. Everything else was indirect. Or, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that the families of people that are now being arrested and jailed for their part in it are also being affected. But that is quite a bit different than your family member dying in such a horrific event, or watching them literally jump out of windows on the evening news.
Yes.
Which is exactly what happened on 9/11, just in case any of you were too young to remember. I remember. And I was
remember.
13, 14. It was not good.
It was homecoming week of my senior year of high school. It was pajama day on top of it. We all sat and watched this in our school spirit pajamas because we had no idea it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this wild story out of Texas this week? Caryville man arrested after officials intercept plans for a mass shooting at Walmart because he had all kinds of extremist flags and all kinds of extremist literature on the front of his desk. And we have an image of that up here. And, you know, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, okay, pick an ideology out of this. I read this article and this whole thing just screams false flag. Especially when there's a flag written in Arabic on the wall and the Turner Diaries on the desk. Those are two ideologies that don't usually mix. Same with the Confederate flag next to the Arabic flag. This Good just Lord. Yells. What's that?
Good Lord.
This yells false flag to me. Yes. Either somebody's very confused or this is a massive false flag. And this guy was doing something else that they didn't like, and they decided to take him off the streets in a fashion where his name would be dragged through the mud, one way or another. I can't see anything serious out of this. Or, like you said, he's just really, really confused.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that someone who is displaying all of those things that clearly don't go together, like there's no overlap between some of those things at all, aside from authoritarianism of some flavor. That just, to me, screams mental instability. Not necessarily criminal activity, but that, to me, screams that there's a mental health issue there that needs to be addressed.
According to Fox 29, Coleman Thomas Blevins, 28, popped up on the KCSO radar last week, and the office reached out to Blevins. According to KCSO, it confirmed Blevins was planning a mass shooting after speaking with him. So apparently he confessed to it. In a message KCSO intercepted, Blevins allegedly threatened to shoot up a Walmart, which location was not released. Blevins was arrested Friday on a terroristic threat warrant, and officials got to work on a search warrant of his home. The deputies said they found firearms, ammo, electronic evidence, concentrated THC, and a radical ideology paraphernalia, which they said included books, flags, and handwritten documents.
Which ideology, though?
All of them. Apparently.
See, that's either straight up mental health illness, like just mental illness, or he thought he was going to get away with it and wanted to throw them off of his tracks so that they would take forever analyzing what he really believed. And so he bought a bunch of stuff that didn't go together and purposefully made it look all jumbled and ridiculous because that stuff does not go together.
And see, you put the incompetence on him. I put the incompetence on the government on a false flag because they don't know what the ideology is either. And they had some other reason to take this guy off the streets and they wanted to make it look good.
Maybe.
You brought this one to my attention, this next one up here. So tell me a little bit about John Hinckley Jr.
Oh, good Lord. We got to go do that. Okay, hold on. I got to find it in the spreadsheet. Normally I have Ed has 3 screens. I have one and it's my laptop. So you got to give me a minute. John Hinckley Jr. All right, where are we going? Here we go. Oh, here we go. I found it. Are you going to play them one of the songs?
I am not, unfortunately, because copyright.
Okay. Dang it. All right. So for those of you who don't remember who John Hinckley Jr. is, he's the man who shot Ronald Reagan. He now has a YouTube channel where he sings his own original songs. After he got out of the mental hospital, he went to court for the right to publicly share his songs and art and now does so on his YouTube channel.
What kind of world are we living in at this point?
He recently got social media attention from a video he posted of him singing a love song he wrote called Majesty of Love. He's gotten over 4,000 subscribers and thousands of views on his videos since he started posting 5 months ago.
Do you think the love song was addressed to a 12-year-old fucking Jodie Foster?
Yikes.
I love how that he's known to the left, especially as a hero, because he went out to try and shoot Reagan because he's probably some massive leftist and he hated Reagan. No, he admitted to the fact that he was doing so because he was in love with Jodie Foster.
Yes. So the article goes on to elaborate about that. He has anonymously posted his music online for the last few years, but received only a little bit of feedback. So he went to court last year to request permission to post his music online under his own name. Hinckley wants to use the music to make a new name for himself, and he says, "I'm a musician. No one knows that. They just see me as the guy who tried to kill Reagan."
Which he kind of was.
And
I
he
don't
was.
I never thought that I'd be reading a news story about John Hinckley Jr. in 2021.
Writing love songs?
I don't know what to do with this information. I don't. We almost had this as a main topic today, but I couldn't because we had so much else to do here. But JBS had a cyber attack this week and forced to shut down all of the company's U.S. beef plants temporarily for about a day.
Okay.
And it just went away. It was there and then it went away.
The cyber attack just went away?
The story about the cyber attack went away. They got in there. They I guess caught the people. They got everything back up and running. Everything was down for about a day. Meat prices, they say, were possibly going to go up because of a one-day shortage. I have not seen anything in the wake of meat prices going up. I haven't seen anything like that, but
they've been going up for the last year. I
know that, but not any major hit. Like there wasn't a major jump as comparison.
Yes, there was.
No, in this past week.
Oh no, not in the last week, but like in the last 6 months, it's been awful.
Yeah, that I can agree with. Looks like JBS.
Keto just got more expensive.
The shutdowns impacted all 9 beef plants located in Arizona, Texas, Nebraska, Colorado, Wisconsin, Utah, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, according to officials from the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union, which represents more than 25,000 JBS employees. JBS's U.S.-based pork plants are still operational. The shuttered plants produce nearly 1/4 of the U.S. beef supplies. In total, JBS employs more than 66,000 workers across 84 U.S.-based locations. It doesn't really say what actually got shut down, if it was the lines or if it was the payroll or what actually happened with that, but it does look like it was enough to shut them down for a day. So they're back up and working, and the supply chain is back in.
Okay.
And the world forgot about it.
And the world forgot about it, exactly. But not us.
I got one here from Insider for you. Trump is telling people he thinks he'll be reinstated as president in August, according to a report.
It's March. It's August. It's January. It's July. Like, this is like the Mayan end of the world calendar.
I like that. That was good.
It gets recalibrated every few months, and the projections change.
Yeah. So this came from the fact that Maggie Haberman apparently knows somebody close in the Trump circle. It came with this tweet here, which Seth Abramson quote tweeted out and said, "Major breaking news, Donald Trump now privately confirming his support of a summer coup of the Biden administration. If the former president has engaged in even a single act to advance this treacherous plot, he is guilty of seditious conspiracy and must be arrested immediately." Because Maggie Haberman tweeted out, Trump has been telling another number of people he's in contact with that he expects he will be reinstated in August. No, that isn't how it works, but simply sharing the information. I'm guessing.
He's insane. I feel like if he was doing this, he would do it until all of us were entirely sick of it, and then he would actually do something. Because he would have to get everybody to the point where they stopped taking it seriously, because he'd claimed this so many times. Like, it would have to be like the boy that cried wolf. He would have to do it so many times to get everybody desensitized to it, and then suddenly just do it. And everyone would be like, oh no, we never expected this, because you've only been predicting it for 3.5 years.
Yeah. But I honestly, I look at this and I think to myself, he probably came out and was interviewing with somebody and said, yeah, you know what? He's doing such a bad job. They're so sick of him. I'm sure they're going to want to be rid of him in August. Hey, maybe they'll come back and ask me to be back. I don't know. I think it was more of that than what Maggie Haberman is claiming and what Seth Abramson is freaking the fuck out about, because you can see the text in the picture I have up there. He is freaking the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they're going nuts over this.
It's hilarious to watch at this point. All right, I got one more, and then we'll get into the main news of the week here. Did you see, and this one also kind of popped in and out of the news cycle very quickly, this bizarre story about Ellie Kemper, the girl from Kimmy Schmidt?
No, I didn't see that.
So apparently, Ellie Kemper was I don't know what the title is, but she was royalty in a white supremacist ball in St. Louis in 1999. And this is coming from Pop Culture. Ellie Kemper, veiled prophet ball queen, title under scrutiny. Ellie Kemper surprisingly became a trending topic on Twitter earlier this week, but it had nothing to do with her roles in The Office or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Instead, they all centered around a controversial pageant title she won when she was a teenager. Kemper, now 41, was named the queen of the 1999 Veiled Prophet Ball at age 19. Kemper grew up in St. Louis, where the Veiled Prophet organization has hosted a debutante ball since 1878. According to the St. Louis Dispatch, the ball has a history of crowning a new queen from historic St. Louis families. The Dispatch also has a photo of Kemper at her 1999 crowning ceremony in front of her pages. Kemper's 1999 title at the ball came under scrutiny on Twitter Monday after a Twitter user published photos of the ball. Out of the blue, user reaction tweets came hard and fast. Some of the tweets were of disbelief, while other reactions immediately went full KKK conspiracy theory. Another person responded to the tweet with the link to the Atlantic article on the ball. So apparently, and I looked into this because this was so bizarre to me, the Veiled Prophets Ball did have its roots in post-Civil War era nobility, for lack of a better word, around St. Louis, the rich families around St. Louis. And they did this every year, and they named a queen of the ball every year for 25 years before the KKK was even founded. This is completely bizarre. I don't even know why somebody leaked this photo after this. But yes, apparently Ellie Kemper was the queen of a KKK ball in St. Louis in the 90s.
Interesting.
Did you have that on your 2021 bingo card?
No, I did not.
All right, that was bizarre. Of all things, that's the words that I have for this. That was bizarre. But the main news cycle this week is even weirder, if you can believe that.
I believe it because I lived through 2020.
So we have the Trump social media saga was a little bit of a talk this week. So on Wednesday, people started talking about the fact that they looked at Instagram and they saw Donald Trump's account back on Instagram. They saw the pictures. Nothing new had been posted there, and nothing new had been posted since before January. That's the last time there was a new post. And then other people noted that his Facebook page was back as well. Now, Facebook security team heads came out immediately and said that no, nothing has actually changed, except for the fact that everyone could see the accounts again. But they didn't even come out and say that everyone could see the accounts again. They came out and said nothing has changed. And then all of a sudden, we saw, well, there were other things that happened this week before that. First and foremost, we have to throw some F's in the chat because From the Desk of the 45th President is shut down. Trump's popular blog page. His PR people came out and said they were going to shut this down.
Do you know why?
But there was something new coming. Well, because nobody was going there.
Because no one was reading it. So can we really say that he shut down his popular blog? The reason he's shutting it down is because it wasn't popular enough.
Yeah, I did kind of expect, especially with the fanaticism of the reporters out there, that we were at least going to see quote tweets of this thing out everywhere.
He has discovered, like many of us have, that trying to get a third-party friendly, not third-party friendly, but a non-mainstream social media channel up and running is a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. That's it. People are so stuck to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. They do not want to go anywhere else. They just don't. They can be your biggest fans, but they don't give a crap about your MeWe. They just don't.
I laugh at that title every time, too. I don't know why. It's just funny.
People keep asking me, like, oh, you should get on MeWe. And I'm like, why? There's no one there. I'd be talking to myself or like 30 people. That's not the point of all of this.
Well, I mean, that's what I do on Twitter anyway.
This is true.
It's not what you do on Twitter. That's what I do on Twitter.
I was on fire on Twitter today.
Yeah, I saw.
I woke up and chose violence.
So, From the Desk of the 45th President is shut down. We saw the pages come back on the Zuckerberg sites. But then Facebook came out and made the announcement this week that, that's all over. And he's out for 2 more years. Now, it's exactly 2 years, so he'll be reinstated, or he'll be up for suggested reinstatement, I should say, because they might extend this longer at this point if they see a pattern of something that could be bad, and we'll talk just a bit about the speculation that goes there. They might extend it, but he is eligible to go back on January 7th of 2023. Tell me, what happens immediately before January 7th of 2023?
The Mayan end of the world?
No, we can't be that lucky.
Dang it.
That's right after everyone's sworn in from the midterms, after all the dust is settled and all the new Congress people are seated.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be
What
fun.
do you think actually happens with this?
Fireworks.
Well, it's just interesting the fact that they're pushing this out until after the midterms, and they're going to decide. And I have to wonder if the decision isn't going to come from whatever the decisions or whatever the outcome of the midterms is, because they want to see whether or not he's going to run and can win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly what that is.
Because, I mean, he's up and he's making the speeches round himself right now. You know, we just heard that he's absolutely going to be having the coup in August, and that's going to happen now because he told his closest insiders. He was in North Carolina, and I don't know if you saw Trump pants trending on Sunday. I saw it. I didn't really care. That's why I didn't put it up in there.
I didn't click on it, though.
he apparently wore his pants backwards.
Aw.
Apparently. And
that's what old men do.
I just thought I didn't know if they were backwards or if it just wrinkled on the front. I don't get it. Well, what's your take on the fact that they're doing this?
It's typical. I mean, I don't like if I was them, I'd do the same thing.
Really, with that obvious correlation to the midterms?
Yeah.
They kind of are spitting in their face, saying that they control the media, don't they?
Only a little.
Yeah, I've had a problem with this too, because I keep hearing about the fact that, is he going to get back on Twitter? Is he going to get back on Facebook? Or is he going to get on this? Is he going to get on that? No. And I had to say, and I actually, completely unrelated to this, I actually had the same complaints about Crowder and YouTube when John was on last week, because, there's so many of these alternate platforms out there. And yes, I understand it's difficult to, like you just said, it's difficult to build on a third-party platform. But when you are the former president of the United States and a religious figure for large swaths of the population on top of that, you'll have advantages to building your community on those sites that people like you and me aren't going to have.
Right.
Trump could go on a MeWe, and MeWe would be on the map instantly.
But he won't, because it's still not a big enough market share to satisfy his ego. And it's because MeWe is right-leaning overall. Same with Parler. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to pander to those people. They are already his loyal supporters. What he really wants is to trigger everyone who doesn't agree with him. So if he can't be in their spaces, getting on their nerves and living rent-free in their heads, it's not enough for him.
And you're probably going to come back and tell me that that's kind of Crowder's situation too, because that's the same thing. Okay, you're bitching about the fact you just got suspended from YouTube. Where's your DLive channel? Where's your Twitch? Yeah, you have alternatives.
People who make a living and stake their reputation on triggering a certain set of people, if they are not allowed in that space anymore, it totally kills their ego. And so they don't want to do it.
Okay.
They're not performing for their fans. They're performing for their haters, because that's what fuels them and that's what drives them. They love that outrage.
Okay. I had not thought about that angle to it before, so that is an interesting way to look at that. So, okay, I understand a little bit better then why he's looking to get to those, but I mean, even still, he doesn't even have a presence on those. I guess if I was in the same shoes, I would have at least a presence. Because I do have a presence on most of those platforms. I don't have MeWe either, but I've got Parler, even though I never use it. I've got Gab, even though it scares me. I've got Minds, even though I can't figure it out. Plus, I mean, there are people that are watching this on DLive, Twitch, Trovo sometimes.
So I'm on if all you have a Twitch account, you should watch us on Twitch.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool of you, actually. Because we're almost really there. We're almost to monetize. So that's what I see for that. I don't know what else there is to go on that. I know that we needed to talk about that. One of the other things that went along with this, though, was that Twitter also censored the tweet of, I believe it is a Nigerian president. I don't know how their political structure goes. Information Minister Lai Mohammed said the government had acted because the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate assistance. Yes, it is the president. The tech giant removed a post from President Muhammadu Buhari that threatened to punish regional secessionists. So Nigeria came around and suspended Twitter in Nigeria.
Suspending Twitter in Nigeria?
Yeah, only certain devices right now, and it's not across the board. I believe it has to do with a VPN or the browser you're using, can access Twitter in the country of Nigeria right now. Otherwise, it's blocked.
Are they only allowing the princes to access the social media platforms?
No, it generally seems to be who has.
That was a joke, Ed. Damn it.
Oh, I missed that one. Now I get it too.
I'm funny, damn it.
I missed that one. I'm sorry. That was on me. But yes, they are. They are suspended in Nigeria right now. There was. I don't know if you follow Savage over on Twitter, but she put out a post because she got another offer from some foreign dude to be her sugar daddy, and she said,
I saw that.
And one of the people replied to her and said, "You would think that with Twitter being suspended in Nigeria, we wouldn't be getting this shit anymore."
Exactly.
And I gave like all caps 25 character oof.
You didn't laugh at my joke. You didn't even roll your eyes. I'm disappointed.
I didn't get it until after you mentioned it was a joke. I thought you were talking about the social structure of it.
No.
Now I get it. I'm still waiting on my payment into my bank account, though. All I see is money going out of it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We have got to get into the AOC Matt Walsh thing, and then we got into the Fauci emails, because that was the big story of the week. But we have been going for about an hour. Do you want to see what they're doing over in the live chat? Make sure they're not killing each other?
They're not killing each other. I can tell you that. All right. Clint says he's having flashbacks to Fargo. I think that was when we were doing our wood chipper sound effect. Quest said Ed's going to be up to his ears in middies and digicart. I don't know what that means, but okay. That is text speak that I don't understand. It's like
I know what he's talking about.
I know you do, but I don't understand it because I don't do that stuff. Hi, Leaf is here. I think you're new. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. He said they don't care as long as it fits the mob's thought, and I don't know what that corresponds to. Quest says he always wonders about the chicken and egg when it comes to enforcing firearms regulations. Okay. Eric from Twitter is here. Quest said criminal investigation will still probably end up with just fines. High Leaf wants us to talk about the California assault weapons ban that got overruled. Is that on the schedule?
It is not, and I realized that just now too, because I've been thinking about that too all day. I missed it for contemporary this morning too, because it got swallowed up in so much everything else.
I was trying to remember when that broke. Was it yesterday?
It's Friday.
Friday. Okay. Jeez. Okay.
It just got swallowed up in everything.
Yeah. And then we were talking about how worthless four-year degrees are. Four-year degrees are basically becoming the new high school diploma, essentially.
Yeah, 16th grade.
Yeah. Oof. That's painful to think about. Chilaga's here. Nephilium's here. Jeff says he likes my glasses. Eric says an undergrad degree is learning to talk the walk. Doesn't matter how well you can do the job if you can't communicate in ways that are comfortable for those who make decisions. Maybe. Oh, Nephilium says he loves your glasses too, Ed.
Thank you.
Mad Cow Mark was here and he had to leave. We hope you come back.
He might not, because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning or something over there. He's in Australia.
Eric said, have you seen real estate prices lately? No one is going to seriously pay you to work at home. Lies. Lies. I just got a job working at home. Saint is here. Eric says, careful with electric energy, remote and or government control of consumer access. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Nephilium says he's curious about EMF health effects long-term with electric cars.
Magnetic field.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of the same along the same lines of microwaves give you cancer?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Just making sure. Glenn says, I'm always amazed at the speaking, quote unquote, ability of presidents.
Come on, man.
I think that was about the Kamala Harris quote that I read. Why is my mouse not scrolling? There it is. Okay. Y'all have been kind of quiet. Oh, Not Him says, add tatas to test dummies, and Highleaf said, that means it's just a sex doll.
Oh!
That was good. Like oh, man. Highleaf says he just likes the color of all the flags. He was going to make a spin the wheel game to see what group he wants to be part of. Oh, if you're on my Facebook and you're wondering what some of these comments are that I'm reading, it's because we have all of them in one chat window from all of our different platforms. So I'm reading comments that you guys can't see because they're from YouTube or Twitch or wherever. So if you're like, what in the world is she talking about? It's everyone else that you can't see.
Mm-hmm. And everyone else can see them too, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. How much you want to bet Trump said that as a joke? And that's exactly what you said, Ed.
Yeah, probably.
Because he doesn't think before he speaks.
I have the greatest words, okay? The best words.
And Nephilim says, I always thought Kimmy looked at that black guy funny.
Oh!
That was dark, was it not?
It was.
Sewell says the second one of those third-party platforms gets big, suddenly they lose financial systems access or their server providers get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
DFK says, does your guest have Twitch and Twitter? I don't know if he means me or you. I have Twitter. I have Twitter, but I don't have Twitch.
Yeah, we have to share Twitch.
But we don't use it for anything other than the show. You don't stream game playing on Twitch, do you?
Not anymore. I don't have time. I did. I played all of Fallout New Vegas. And then I ran out of time to do anything else. I started playing Super Mario RPG. It was like, okay, when?
Harvey's here. Oh, hi, Harvey. Neat. We missed you.
How's the kid?
Yay! She said she has her sonogram this morning. How did it? I'm guessing it went well. Otherwise, she wouldn't be telling us during a live stream.
Yeah.
Boy or girl?
I don't know. We will catch back up on that. We do have to get into some of the news coming up here, though.
It's a boy.
It's a boy.
Yay.
Yay.
Boys are fun. Also, be prepared that your life will never, ever be quiet again. I have an 8-year-old, and I can speak from experience. Enjoy your silence now. You will never have silence again. Or a clean house. Or someone who doesn't want to fart on you all the time.
Nice. All right. Are you ready to talk about Matt Walsh and the bizarre story that this was?
Yes. About AOC's grandma?
Yes. So John and I talked about this last week because last week the Honorable and Venerable Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, D-Twitch, came out and told a sad, sad story about how her abuelita's roof has never been the same and that she is sitting here because she can't get the aid that Trump blocked from going down to Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, the majority of the aid was actually sitting on a tarmac until the food supply spoiled and the politicians walked away with a large amount of the money. We actually did send a lot of aid down after Hurricane Maria. But mysteriously, the politicians in Puerto Rico withheld most of it for political reasons. And reasons so they could come back and do stuff like this. So we caught up on that part of the story. Well, this led Daily Wire's Matt Walsh and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to go back and forth as to how this should go. And even I mentioned this when I talked about this, the fact that she is saying that her grandmother has no money to fix her roof. Meanwhile, she's posing on the cover of magazines in $7,000 pantsuits. And my first suggestion was, well, sell one of the pantsuits. This was before I knew about the Tesla, by the way. I didn't know that she had just bought a brand new Tesla within the time that her grandmother's roof was leaking so badly that her grandmother was living in squalor. Fast forward to this weekend. On Friday, Daily Wire's Matt Walsh put out a GoFundMe to raise, well, he actually had a goal in mind. He put the GoFundMe amount, the goal amount, as the price of a new Tesla Model 3, which is the Tesla model that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has. And his donation was $499, which is the average lease cost per month of if you were to lease the same car. I believe Cortez owns her car, but if you were to lease the same car. Ben Shapiro got in. He donated that amount. Several people came in. Thousands of people came in and donated to the GoFundMe. The person running the tech on this program was one of them. I put $20 into it. And in 10 hours, they raised $100,000 for Abuelita to go and get her roof fixed.
Okay, and that should be plenty.
Yeah. And then Walsh got this email here. An important message. Dear Matt, I think I got to blow this up. Or do I have this in the screen? Yeah, I do. Because I can't read this on the screen just the way that it's done in there. So the picture is as follows. It says, Dear Matt, we are in touch with the beneficiary's family. They have made clear they will not be accepting the funds raised. When a beneficiary does not want to accept the funds that have been raised on their behalf, it is a standard practice to turn off donations, then refund all donors. We recommend posting an update on the fundraiser so your donors know they will be fully refunded within the next couple days. They will also receive an automatic message from GoFundMe informing them of their refund. They will get back 100% of their donations within 3 to 7 business days, which mine is already back, by the way. Okay. Please let us know if you have any questions. Regards, GoFundMe Trust and Safety Team. So, a story that began and ended almost as quickly as it did. What did you see on this one?
I just saw that she basically said she wasn't going to accept the money and whatever. So, I don't understand a lot of things, namely being, so people raised, I don't know, she's so defensive and she thinks everything is a troll that she's basically cutting off her nose to spite her own face at this point. Like, she won't even accept help for someone who actually needs it because she doesn't want to, I don't know, give in.
Well, a lot of controversy came out of this story, too, and that's why I didn't do this as a lightning round, that I did this as a main topic, because there have been a lot of discussions over the weekend over whether or not it was appropriate to donate, especially, like, me and Steven got into it over the weekend. He and I have argued over it a couple times in his live chat and my live chat. When he was there for the retirement party for the old laptop, he called me out on it because why would you donate to people who hate you, yo? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez gets up in the morning, yo, and she just wants all of us fucking dead. I threw money into it because I wanted to be there. It's like when I threw $20 into Doge when it was 0.3 cents a coin. I didn't expect to make any money off of it. I just wanted to throw $20 at it for the lulz. And that's kind of what I did here, too.
Right.
And at this point, I'm not out anything because what am I going to do? Go throw $20 on another box or another cigar?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's interesting your take on the fact of, okay, why is she turning this away because she thinks this is a bad... I really do think that this was, well, and for Walsh too, because I don't think he had the purest of intentions when he did this.
I don't think so either. And I could see how accepting something like that from someone that you consider your enemy would feel really weird. Like, what are they going to want from me in return? Like, I don't know. I could see how that would be a very complicated position to be in. I feel like he knew that she wouldn't take it, though.
I was actually a little surprised when she didn't take it. I figured it would just wind up in a campaign slush fund somewhere. Which I was a little bit hesitant to throw the $20 bill in that I did, because I did think it was going to wind up in a campaign slush fund somewhere. But, I mean, regardless to that, I mean, he was coming out here and he pointed out the same thing that I did. You know, sell one of those $7,000 pantsuits and go help your grandma. You've got the money. You make a six-figure salary. You can afford a Tesla Model 3. I can't afford a Tesla Model 3.
Right.
I like one. I think they're kind of cool, but I can't afford one. I can't even buy one in my state. Dealership laws. Something else that libertarians hate, dealership laws.
It's true. Also, I would really like to know what the difference is between her raising money after the hurricane. What was it, like $1 million or something like that for Texas? After no, it wasn't the hurricane.
No, it was the ice storm.
Yeah, it was the ice storm. I was like, it was when they lost power and had no power for like a week or more. She raised all that money, and I don't know how this is different, honestly.
Well, and the other thing that concerns me as well is, I mean, going back to the idea of, you know, with her raising money for her, because she went out and did that for Texas, raised a whole bunch of money for that, and that was something that wasn't in her constituency, and a lot of people called her out for that. But realistically, with that, for Alexandria Ocasio, and there was another story that she was in this week that I just didn't think we had the time to get to either, but where she's saying that this anti-gun chapter in New York needed a bunch of money to go and curb some of the gun violence in New York City. They needed like $400,000, and they needed Congress to give it to them. And why can't Congress just throw that little bit of money out there because they spend so much anyway? I said, bitch, if you turned on your Twitch right now with a GoFundMe attached to it saying, I need money for this program in my constituency, you would have it twice over within 2 hours. I promise.
Yep.
If you went out to your voters or all the people across Twitch that you stream to, when you just play Among Us for 2 hours, and you would have that money 3 times over, twice over, 3 times over, somewhere in that. And then your little program would be paid for, and the government wouldn't have to be into it.
Right.
But then they're taking away from people who aren't rich. So I don't understand this. I don't understand any of this at all. But it was bizarre to watch. It was bizarre to see. And really, honestly, where are we at this point? I don't know.
But at this point, it's like so much of what she does doesn't make sense to me. It's like it's not worth me expending energy trying to figure her out. It just isn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that's where we come from that. But moving on into what I consider to be the biggest story of the week, even though this one is starting to disappear out of the cycle too. Let me grab a couple articles from this here. This past week, after a Freedom of Information Act was filled, Dr. Anthony Fauci's emails were released throughout his role in the pandemic at the beginning. Now, we're not seeing a lot of stuff from the Wuhan stuff and the stuff that he funded before COVID-19 started. There was a specific number of dates that they were able to take emails from. I believe it was about 3 months worth of emails off the beginning, but 3,000 pages of emails from the desk of Dr. Anthony Fauci. And there's a lot of shit in there. There was a lot of stuff in there to go with, and a lot of stuff to talk about with this, and I haven't even scratched the surface. I've started looking and reading some of the emails, but I have not even scratched the surface. I'm going to sit down and read all 3,000 pages of this and see what's all in here, but there's just so much information, and there's so much that he knew, and so much the narrative at this point is shattered because these emails are out there. Have you read any of this at all, or just kind of some of the stuff that's been coming back?
I've seen some of the emails, but it just seems like I don't know, they're going to close ranks and protect one of their own. And everything that's come out from like February, March, April, when everything was really like ramping up and everything was really crazy. All of his departures from any of that are all just going to be explained away by, well, of course we changed our position as soon as we had new evidence.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There is some of that too that goes along with this. One of the interesting things for me before I even started getting into some of the stuff, because this dropped on, what the hell was that, Tuesday night? This dropped on Tuesday night, and I went into it on Wednesday morning on Contemporary, completely open to it, and just found the first couple mainstream articles that came out of this. They were trying to twist this so hard to make this guy look like a hero. Like CNN and The Hill both, there was not a word about any of the flip-flops, any of the things that he knowed. It just, they focused on the emails that made Fauci look like a hero. Mm-hmm. And then very, very quickly started to realize that this narrative was not going to stick with them and it was going to get away from them in a hurry. I mean, I've got a tweet here from Hannah Cox. Let's see if I can find that one here quick.
I love Hannah.
Yeah, there's been a discussion about her on other Freedom Scoop channels. Because Stephen apparently does not like her. I like her. I actually do. And I had that argument. But Hannah Cox tweeted out on June 2nd, let's get this straight. Fauci's new email shows he admitted in February of 2020 that masks weren't effective, discussed the gain-of-function research he recently tried to deny involvement in, and was notified that the virus looked engineered, which was all the things that we were told you were conspiratorial for and you were a fucking nutbag for if you believed back in May of last year. And hell, even to a point back in May of this year. They considered you to be a nutbag if you believed any of this kind of stuff.
Right.
Now, one of the things that's been discussed in our Discord server was that it does look like, and I've not been able to confirm this, I don't know if you've seen any of this at all, because you kind of mentioned they were going to close ranks around him, but it also looks like some high-end White House officials may be looking at an exit strategy. A way that they can peacefully get Anthony Fauci out of government without people asking a lot of questions. I've seen no verification of this, but given the fact that this information is out here and CNN can't cover it up anymore, possible? Probable?
Maybe.
I'd be kind of interested how they got him out, because that might be a precursor, too, to how they get creepy fucking Joe out.
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
On the same thing, because this is a person who no longer serves our purposes and can't be trusted to say or do the right thing. And, oh, well, he just wants to go and retire and go and sniff little kids and play with dogs and eat ice cream.
Okay.
And then we'll see what they do with Biden later. So I don't know. What have you seen out of this from the little bit that you've seen? Because you said you've only seen a little bit of it yourself.
I think that everyone that sees these and looks at these is going to use it as evidence of whatever their own worldview is. That's it.
That's one of the hard parts too, because we are seeing the points where, like I mentioned, CNN, MSNBC, they're finding the emails that make him look great, and yes, this is going to push people further back in the corners.
Yeah, and again, like every time he says something that's not currently the narrative, they're just going to say, well, of course he changed his mind. He was given new evidence. Like that's what scientists do. Done. Question answered. That's it. Mm-hmm. And all the Facebook fact checkers are going to put their little warnings on it and say that it's missing context. That's it.
Yeah, that's definitely one that I can see going on with that. So, I don't know. This was real. I wish I'd have read more of this before the show. But just, there's so much information there. And there's, we both work on top of this too. So, there's a ton of it there. We're going to learn some stuff about this. There was, what the hell was it? I had one up here. There's one from Yahoo. This one actually was from the Indian version of Yahoo News, because they were the only green-checked at the time verified news source that was saying anything about the bad stuff that was in the emails. Anthony Fauci's emails reveal he outrightly rejected COVID-19 lab leak theory last year. But there was another one. Let's see. Yep. This one here came from Insider. It said a health official suggested to Fauci that frontline workers could use a doggy cone instead of PPE. Email a show. Which kind of leads me back into the idea this is just an expanded game of Fauci says.
Probably.
So that's what we're seeing from here. One of the things that came out of this, though, and this came to another Snapchat that you sent me on it, was the feud, the ever-heating feud that comes between Rand Paul and Anthony Fauci. What was it that you said? Spicy Rand is the best Rand?
It is. And by spicy based Rand.
Was it based? I thought you said spicy Rand.
Based. No. Rand hasn't been based since like before 2016. So I've missed based Rand.
Well, in the wake of the emails coming out, Amazon has pulled the pre-orders for Anthony Fauci's book, upcoming, that he was about to put out. Expect the Unexpected. What's the name of the book? And, well, this was definitely unexpected. I can give him that one off of this. And then Rand Paul, I didn't put the tweet in the pictures, but I do have it up on this in my screen over here. He says, "Oh, I don't know. I think they should publish it. I love science fiction."
Yeah. It made me happy.
We do have some other news going on with the commie coof and some other things that are coming back around here. The big one, the one that we do need to pay attention to right now, is the fact that, given the fact that our corporate overlords and our government overlords have found how much fun it is to have power again, we have a new disease that's popping up. The Daily Wire first reported it, and then the Associated Press reported on it a day later, that there is a new bird flu coming out. I believe it is H10N3 has now shown up in humans in China. And once again, there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission. Where have we heard this before?
Last year. Around March 2020 or February 2020.
Did you see any of this? The fact that that's even out here at this point?
No.
Read from the Daily Wire. China downplays first human case of H10N3 bird flu. Risk of large-scale spread is low.
They've had bird flu in Asia before that never really spread either.
Yeah. But it's just the fact that now, think back to where we were in January of last year, though. A couple of online commentators were coming out and saying, "Oh, well, this is happening in China, so go out and buy some extra beans." And they were being called crazy. And then we've got Nancy Pelosi going, "Go party in Chinatown because this isn't going to affect you or anything." And, the travel ban from China that's xenophobic. And, here we are. I don't trust the government officials to not use this to their advantage. And I can't imagine you do either.
Nope. Not really.
So we will see if that even shows up here. But one of the things that was coming out this week is some of the vaccine hesitancy and people being called out for vaccine hesitancy and some of the mask wars that have been going on. We talked about Royal Caribbean already, which I actually should have put this in the main part of this. But there have been some other things that went along with this, including a concert hall in Florida. This reading from The Blaze. Unvaccinated ticket buyers charge $1,000 to enter Florida punk rock show. Vaccinated fans only pay $18, and Governor DeSantis' office says it unfairly discriminates.
Yes, it does.
But I had even more questions about this. So, a Florida concert promoter insists he's not preventing unvaccinated fans from entering an upcoming rock show. Those without the COVID-19 jab can absolutely enter the VFW Post 39 in St. Petersburg to catch headliners Teenage Bottle Rocket, On June 26th, all they have to do is pay $999.99. As for fans who have been vaccinated, their tickets are $18. So, it's not about the vaccine anymore. It's not about the health, because if it was about the health, then they wouldn't let those people in. No matter how much money they paid, they wouldn't let them in. It's about control.
Right.
Which is part of the reason that I don't want to go out and get the vaccine, because this all screams ulterior motive to me. I don't know if you see the same thing I do, but I don't even know if you're planning on getting the jab.
At least not currently, no.
So, the other side of this that really bothered me is that this is for a punk band. Since when has punk music been about following the rules and doing what the establishment tells you?
Did you not see the meme that I posted like a week ago?
I must have missed that one.
Gonna have to find it. Ridiculousness.
Yeah, send the tweet to me in a DM and I can put it back up on the screen.
Okay. Will do. As soon as I find it.
Uh-oh, I just lost one of my tabs. Anyway, yeah, they have that going on here. But the other thing that we've been seeing come out of this is some of the big giveaways that people are trying to do to try and get more people to take the vaccine. At this point, I can really honestly say that everyone who wants the vaccine got the vaccine. And you're not going to do a whole lot more at this point to try and convince more people to do so. You're going to try and convince them, but I don't think a lot more people are going to take this. I think we're done at this point.
Probably.
And now we've got some other people that are going to possibly jump up, and they're going to, they'll get the yearly booster, they'll get this, they'll get that, the next thing. But I think that everybody who's trying to do this is done. But this while you're looking into that, I'll read a little bit from this one here out of West Virginia. Guns, trucks, and $1 million. Governor announces new COVID-19 vaccine incentives. Jim Justice has announced new incentives for getting the COVID-19 vaccine. The governor says the new program will be held between June 20th and August 4th. It starts on June 20th, West Virginia's birthday, and also Father's Day this year. A drawing will be held every week, and Governor Justice announced on Tuesday during a press conference. To be eligible, West Virginians have to get at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Officials are working on creating a website for the registration, which those words bother me in and of themselves. Governor Justice says West Virginians must register in order to be eligible to win. On June 20th, they will be giving away 2 full 4-year scholarships to any institution in West Virginia to kids that are ages 12 to 25. They will also be giving away 2 brand new custom outfitted Rocky Ridge F-150 trucks, which is about an $82,000 truck, by the way, I looked. 25 weekend getaways to state parks, and 5 lifetime hunting and fishing licenses. 5 custom hunting rifles and 5 custom hunting shotguns will also be giving away. Have they cracked the code in West Virginia?
Okay.
Have they finally found a way to get rednecks to go and get the vaccine?
No, I don't think they have.
I don't know.
I don't think that's going to work.
Those trucks are kind of nice.
You got to throw in chewing tobacco.
Oh. All right.
And lotto tickets.
Let me switch.
And your pretty sister. Oh, wait, that's an Alabama joke.
I disavow. All right, so this is the meme that you were talking about here. Loud and fast, punks wear a mask.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Punk is dead.
Mr. Doctor has, I think, the best comment right off the top. So conformity is now punk. All right. I mean, that's not the only one that we're seeing, though, come out of any of this. Witchy Chick had a picture that I thought was worth looking at. Let me see. There it is. Let me get Hannah Cox's picture out of here. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to sound less like encouragement, more like desperation. That's one thing to look at too. You see, you've got up here a year of free flights. California's got the lottery in this. They're giving away free groceries for this. They're desperate to get this vaccine filled into the arms of people, and I don't know why. And that's what bothers me.
Right.
That there's got to be some sort of ulterior motive to this. That's the reason I don't want to go and get it, is because it does. I mean, they're desperate to this. Yes, I would like a year of free flights. I could do a lot with a year of free flights.
Same.
I'm not willing to go into an ulterior motive to go and get it.
Right.
I could use $1 million. I would sure enjoy a new Rocky Ridge F-150, even though I don't live in West Virginia. I'm not eligible for that. I would sure enjoy that. I think that would be kind of fun to drive around in. But is an $82,000 truck worth me going out and having something that, we don't know. We really don't. And why are they so desperate to get it?
No. And I doubt we will ever know.
Maybe we'll get a FOIA act and Fauci will throw it in an email somewhere. In line with all of this, I don't know if you saw this one or not, but this was an interesting story this week. China also raised their 3-child policy.
Okay. Any more workers for their camps?
Well, you would think that they wouldn't, because they keep sterilizing the slaves that they put up there. And what's one thing slaves can do? They can make more slaves. I don't know why you would sterilize your slave population, but China's going to do China. China has had a 1-child policy. They had that, and actually I happen to have this book on my desk because of a conversation I had with somebody else last night. But at the time this book was published, China still had a 1-child policy, and they were aborting baby girls because everybody wanted a baby boy to be the heir to their fortune. And then I think it was 2014 they upped it to 2 children policy, and now this week they have upped it now to you're limited to have 3 children.
Okay.
And there's a lot of speculation that goes around that as well, including, like you said, they need more factory work. But there are other things that are being talked about, especially given the fact that the coronavirus originated there. And really, honestly, I'm pretty sure China cooked their books and they lost a lot more people than they're telling us that they did.
Right. Well, the other thing that is now going to be really concerning in about 5 or 10 years is that China and India currently are the leading carbon emissions countries in the world. China's the number one, I believe. Huh?
We don't talk about that, though. We only talk about this country. How dare you?
So China's going to increase their population, and that problem will get worse. And the climate activists will fall all over themselves to avoid blaming third world population explosions for that problem.
Well, of course they will, because, it's only the first. Well, that's part one of the things, too, because if you paraded little Greta Thunberg out in front of Xi Jinping, the cameras would go dark and we would probably never hear from Greta Thunberg again. That's dark, but it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there's that aspect to this. There is, people are out there speculating that China's getting ready to go take on the world after they weaken the world's population with the coronavirus, which I don't buy that. But I do think they're amassing irradiated people. But the other side of the coin is, millennials in China are not that different from millennials here. They've been put into a massive work ethic. They feel they need to be at a certain place in life before they have kids. And some of them are moving to the point of sterility by the time they're ready to sit down and have kids.
Right.
So we've got an entire generation that's not having, and especially given the fact that they were limited to having one kid. Mm-hmm. So they had to make it count for so much of their lives, and then 2 kids for so much of their lives. They had to make it count right away. So now they're sitting back here. They're not having kids at all. They're just going about their careers. They're doing their thing, and there is population stagnation in China. I don't know if they might be below 1 child per family. They're well below replacement rate, because replacement rate is 2 children per family.
Right.
So with that, there are a lot of things that are going on in China right now that we don't know about too.
Oh yeah, of course.
And even with only having 3 children now, there's still a lot of people in China.
Oh yeah.
There are a ton of people over there. So I don't know. I thought that would be interesting to see and talk just a bit about as what happened with that. So yeah, I don't know why. I really don't. We get to talk a little bit of Biden stuff, though, before we close out for the night. And I got some surprise stupidity for you, because Biden continues to be Biden. So there are a couple things. First, did you see the Black Wall Street speech this week?
I didn't see his speech, but I saw a lot of the comments about it.
A lot of racism.
Yes.
A lot of that.
But it's Joe Biden.
Yeah.
We all knew what we were getting. Some of us chose to vote for him. Not me, but some people.
I didn't either. I voted for the orange guy. I know. Did you know that white supremacy is the most lethal threat to the homeland today?
To the homeland?
That's what he said. Let's have a listen. I'll let you hear it from his stumbled, addled fucking words.
The joint session of Congress, according to the intelligence community, terrorism from white supremacy is the most lethal threat to the homeland today. Not ISIS, not Al-Qaeda, white supremacists. The joint session.
I think you have thoughts.
The clapping made it so you couldn't hear my eye roll. I keep saying this every time people bring it up. The only reason for the intelligence community to name anyone a white supremacist is because it puts them into a certain kind of category. There's a hierarchy of categories that the intelligence community uses to assess how likely someone is to turn violent. White supremacists are in that top tier. So if they can credibly label you as a white supremacist, it gives them a whole lot of expanded powers of things that they can do to monitor you, to track you, to all that kind of stuff without having to get a warrant. Mm-hmm. So they use white supremacy as a workaround for warrantless searches so that they don't have to go through a judge. They don't have to tell anybody what they're doing. They can literally just blanketly label people as white supremacists and then monitor the crap out of them. And that's all they're doing. That's the only reason for them to keep perpetuating and pushing that.
Why, Elaine, it's almost like you're going to try and convince me that the government is abusing their power.
I know, right? It's crazy.
It's like they don't believe in the Fourth Amendment anymore. Are you serious? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't know what Black Wall Street was until last year.
Yep, I had not heard of it until 2 years ago.
Yeah, I never heard. And now, I looked on the calendar on my phone, on my Google Calendar, and Juneteenth is clearly marked. I had never heard of that until last year either. And, I mean, what happened with Black Wall Street was terrible. I don't condone any of that. These people were making a thriving community. And in the Jim Crow South, the white supremacists who actually existed at the time couldn't have that because, they couldn't have these people coming up and taking money away and getting a better example of that was a horrible thing. But it doesn't give an excuse to, label everybody that doesn't agree with the Biden administration with the same label that the rest of us give to 12 cousin fuckers in Alabama that I already kicked out of our Discord.
Right.
White supremacy is dead. It's there, but it's not this existential threat that the news media keeps trying to tell us.
I do agree with that. I think it still exists, and I think that there are pockets of the country where it's much worse than in other places, but I don't think that it is the great threat of our age as the intelligence community would have you believe. Because if there's anything I've learned from my time on Earth, it's when the intelligence community is pushing something this hard, they have ulterior motives, period.
It's the same thing with the vaccination.
Exactly.
When they're pushing it this hard, they've got ulterior motives.
If the government has to try this hard to convince you of something, that means they're doing something that you wouldn't like.
Well, in the same speech, Joe Biden announced that he's putting Kamala Harris in charge of the voting initiatives to make sure that
that's not going to go wrong.
To make sure that none of these states can put voting laws into place. And immediately after that, she got onto Morning Joe to give this great speech, which completely contradicts everything that her career actually stands for. I don't know if you saw this one going around. This was cringe to the max. This is Kamala Harris to Mika Brzezinski. And I cut out Mika's introduction to it too. So let's have a listen to what that sounded like.
Not ready for you. No one like you has done it before. I've heard all of those things many times over the course of my career, but I didn't listen. And I would encourage anyone who's been told that, whatever their gender, to not listen, because again, don't be encumbered by the inability of others to see the potential of who you are.
I eat no for breakfast. I didn't listen. This sounds very male and successful.
It's really important to recognize the limitations that other people have based on their expectations and to not impose that on oneself.
Okay, let's see.
Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm pretty sure that Kamala Harris's career started because she didn't say no.
You are that guy, Ed. Right now. You are that guy.
I am.
Yeah.
But regardless, what's your take on that speech?
I mean, it's all fluff. That's it. It's mainstream media being nice to her, which is all they do. Because if they really asked the hard-hitting questions, she would fail. Because her record doesn't match up to what she claims to believe.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Crime Bill Joe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so anti-racist, man, and all the anti-racism. Okay, well, get all the people that you locked up over the years out of jail and put your fucking son in jail for all the crimes that he committed. The other big news that came out of this particular news cycle, and this was just another one that came out over the weekend, is the fact that Manchin is back on the chopping block once again, and they can't get his name out of their mouths because, now they're sitting here talking about the fact that he, even if they ended the filibuster, even if they got like Mitt Romney to reach across the aisle, Lisa Murkowski or something else like that, he would still vote no on the Voting Rights Act. He would still be a no vote onto that one. And there was a lot of talk about that in the same speech that happened over in Tulsa. But I just want to read quick from the Dissociated Press. Manchin's opposition clouds future of Dems election bill. A key Democratic senator says he will not vote for the largest overhaul of the U.S. election law in at least a generation, leaving no plausible path forward for legislation that his party and the White House have portrayed as crucial for protecting access to the ballot. Voting and election reform that is done in a partisan manner will all but ensure partisan divisions continue and deepen, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia wrote in a home state newspaper, the Charleston Gazette-Mail. He wrote that failure to bring together both parties on voting legislation would risk further dividing and destroying the republic we swore to protect and defend as elected officials. The bill would restrict partisan gerrymandering of congressional districts, strike down hurdles to voting, and bring transparency. We've read the bill on air when it first came out, when we first talked about it. I actually read you sections of it, so we all know what's in it. But yeah, he's absolutely 100% against voting for this bill.
Not surprised.
In spite of the fact that it's blatantly unconstitutional, and even if they did get it passed, the Supreme Court would theoretically slap it the fuck down.
Not surprised. Again, lawmakers don't seem to care. Like, too many of them will vote for a bill or a piece of legislation that they want or that they think that they can justify to their constituency, regardless of whether or not it's constitutional. You can't do that. Like, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to, again, balance what your constituency wants with what is constitutional and go with that and walk that line. And they're not doing that.
Yeah, they never do that. But after Joe Biden called both Sinema and Manchin out, Psaki, who was about to be on the cover of Vogue, as we talked about earlier, got to do cleanup for Biden here. So I got a couple videos of this. One is from Peter Doocy. I don't know who the other woman is that's on this, but she got a couple of videos here of questions.
Democrats.
Go away. Let's have a listen to what Psaki had to say about Joe Biden's feelings on Sinema and Manchin. Oops. There we go.
And Democrats, but ProPublica actually found that they've so far voted with Biden 100% of the time on major votes. And so can you explain where those comments came from and why he felt the need to call out members of his own party?
Well, I would say first that if Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema were standing with me here today, they're always welcome, they would call out their own independent streaks. And that's something that I think they're both proud of. They both vote for and represent the people in the states and all the people who elected them to represent them in the Senate. If you look at what the president said, the big tell here is I hear all the folks on TV saying, now as a former TV pundit myself, I can tell you that sometimes these conversations can be oversimplified. TV isn't always made for complex conversations about policymaking. We all know that, right? And what the president was simply conveying is that his threshold, his litmus test is not to see eye to eye on every single detail of every issue. And he doesn't with Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin. And he doesn't with Senator Capito, who's coming here later this afternoon. He believes there's an opportunity to work together, to make progress, to find areas of common ground, even if you have areas of disagreement. And he also believes that sometimes, because there are three entities, three branches of government, something he knows well, having served 36 years in the Senate, that sometimes it's not a straight line to victory or success, that sometimes it takes more time, and he's open to many paths forward. So I don't think he was intending to convey anything other than a little bit of commentary on TV punditry.
Well, he did.
You could see her making that up on the fly.
That was panicked. Oh God, I have to cover my ass.
Well, in true Peter Doocy fashion, because he has been the Jim Acosta of this new administration, he decided to push that a little bit further. So let's have a quick listen. This one's a little bit quicker, but let's have a listen to what happened with that one.
On the JBS hack, these hackers based in Russia have disrupted American gas supplies and American meat supplies. Why do you think that these ransomware attacks have been rising since President Biden took office?
Well, first, I would say these are private sector entities who have a responsibility to put in place measures to protect their own cybersecurity. As it relates to why criminal actors are taking actions against private sector entities, I don't think I'm the right one to speak to that.
So total coincidence.
I think you can certainly go track down those cyber criminals in Russia and have a good chat with them.
Okay, if you have any leads, we'll take that.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
Do you think it's a coincidence that all these attacks are happening after Biden took office?
No.
I didn't think you would. So that's all that I have as far as news goes. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff going in a different direction. And it's starting to look like the news cycle for next week is starting to load up too. I don't know if you've seen the Discord or anything else like that, but it's starting to go. So we're going to have another busy week next week here. But I got a little bit of surprise stupidity for you to close out the show. A little bit of cringe. I think you're going to cringe at this one. I think you actually probably know about this one because it actually made some pretty big news. But I wanted to get your take on it anyway. But I'm going to start again with a video. Do you remember this chick?
Whatever you say, boomer.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer. Okay. Boomer. Yeah, boomer. Whatever you say, boomer.
Nico. And I know
What's
exactly what you're going to talk about.
I'm sure you did as soon as you. I'm sure you did, but I still wanted to get your take on this one here. So, for those who are not familiar, this is Twitter and Twitch star Nico Lull, who got famous for that particular video. And she now is partnered over on Twitch. She's making large amounts of money, apparently, over on Twitch. She's got her TikTok that she's still making videos from. And, a lot of people, when this first came out, they tried to pretend, oh, well, she's just some ugly Bernie supporter and this, that, the next thing.
She is not ugly. She is adorable.
I was honest with myself. Actually, when that video first came out, I commented on it. I was honest with myself. And I said, I can feel my vote changing. Oh, no, what do I do? I was honest with myself after this. But this week, according to Newsweek, well, she's facing backlash right now because she decided to give a tour of her brand new $2 million apartment in Dallas. To read from Newsweek here, Nico Lull, OK Boomer TikTok star, faces backlash over $2 million apartment tour. An internet star who went viral for a video supporting Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has come under fire for giving fans a tour of what she says is her $2 million apartment. Nicole Sanchez, who's better known by her username Nicolol, is the TikTok star behind the viral OK Boomer video in which she danced wearing a Bernie t-shirt. The video has been viewed more than 50 million times on Twitter since it was uploaded on March 2020, and we just added to that once again because that's where I took that from. She also danced to the song of the year after it went viral, wearing a t-shirt from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's official merchandise that read, "Tax the Rich." On Tuesday, Nico Lull shared a video to YouTube titled $2 Million Apartment Tour, My New Apartment. The tour showed off a kitchen with an empty wine fridge, an espresso machine, which Nico Lull pulling out that she does not even drink coffee. She then showed a bedroom and en-suite bathroom with views over Dallas, Texas, before giving her viewers a glimpse into her walk-in closet. Nico Lull finished off the tour showing off her office and streaming space, which probably looks a lot better than the one I'm working from, which had been decorated with gifts from her fans. In addition to all of this, here is a picture that I had up here of the skyline that she can see from her bedroom window. It's very nice.
The Dallas skyline is beautiful.
We can ask one of our friends in the live chat, and I'm not going to say who, but I think you know too. But yes, that's absolutely true. The Dallas skyline from this apartment is gorgeous. You can see her there. And just in case that didn't scream tax the rich enough to be in this $2 million apartment, she's also posed here in this picture on the hood of her brand new BMW with the photo that was captioned Beamer Girl.
Yes, I did see that too.
Do you have thoughts on this?
How hypocritical of her. Tax the rich. Honey, you are the rich. If you would like to give more of your money to the federal government, by all means, pull out your checkbook. You are free to do so.
There have been arguments against her lodged not only on the fact that she just bought this $2 million apartment, the BMW, the clothes, the streaming setup, and everything else. And I mean, she's getting views on Twitch like we can't even imagine, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other criticism of the fact that she moved specifically to Dallas to try to avoid more taxes, to try to pay lower taxes. And that if she was serious about actually taxing the rich, she would go to, like, California,
She'd live
Los
in New York.
Angeles, or New York, yeah. Which I wasn't she from New York originally, too, I thought?
I thought it was like Atlanta.
Oh, it could be.
Maybe. I don't know.
But regardless, to go to Texas where there's no income tax, and I mean taxes are generally low anyway in Texas. That's a lot of the reason that Texans like to go live there. I could say that's a fair criticism. What do you think?
I think it's a fair criticism too.
Do we accept her back into society after this? Do we make her accept the fact that she's rich? Make her pay the taxes? Maybe make her pay our taxes? That would be nice. Hey, Nicolo, will you pay the taxes for this low-rate news stream that made fun of you?
No, it's fine. I don't need her money.
It's people like that, I'm convinced, believe that they're going to be the Politburo. Like, they're going to be the chosen ones. It's, once again, it's just like in, I think it's this book. Yeah, it is this book. Where one of the Politburo members was driving around in his brand new Mercedes while everyone else had to have whatever the domestic Russian car was in his brand new Mercedes, and he got a rocket attack shot at him. But he believed he was in the right because he can drive around with a lap of luxury while everyone else was slaving away. That's where socialist countries go. And I'm sure with her support, once her grand overlord Bernie comes in, she believes that she is going to be special and not to do the same thing that the worker plebes have to do.
Yep. I wonder how much demand in a socialist society she thinks that her content has.
I don't know. Will everybody have a phone and be forced to take it as mandatory state-run propaganda?
Ooh, good question.
I think you should read the live chat before I dig myself into a deeper hole.
They've been kind of quiet, actually. And I don't remember where we left off.
It's the end of the show. They kind of lose interest toward the end.
Yeah. Oh, it was right after Harvey told us that she's having a boy. Very cute. Harvey doesn't believe that AOC turned down the money. She said she's still not over AOC crying to Congress that other guy called her the B word.
Yeah, and I mean, they just said that it was somebody from the family. So I don't know if it was the family, if it was Cortez herself. Yeah, that's all they say. It was somebody from the family.
Yeah, I don't know. So Highleaf said AOC doesn't care about her grandma. She's doing this for political points, and it looks like she still has TDS.
Oh, yeah, the whole media does, and so does the entire Democrat Party. Because if they pay attention to Trump, they don't have to cover Biden.
Yes, we've said that from the beginning. And then he also said that's like the one Twitch streamer who loves socialism but has a $2 million house or apartment. Called it.
It's weird. We just talked about that.
It's weird. We were on our way there. Not Him says, put money into it to prove a point. The socialist communist lovers in the U.S. have the same thing in common. They live in the U.S. and have benefited from living here. That's from Harvey. Mm-hmm. Harvey doesn't think that Harvey thinks that Walsh knew that AOC wouldn't accept the money and knew that it would make her look bad either way. But she wants to know where the money went. It's all getting refunded. Sean says she's trolling Ted Cruz.
You think?
Oh, I think he meant about when she raised money for Texas.
Oh.
But yeah, then Harvey basically said my thoughts. Neither of us really understood what Ted Cruz was supposed to do when that happened because he's a senator and not the governor. He can't call in the National Guard. He doesn't have the power to do any of that. Sewell said they already pulled Fauci's book from the shelves.
Yes. I talked about that.
Quest had to leave because it was story time for him and his daughter.
That's the most wholesome thing I've ever heard.
I know it is, right? Harvey
I
says,
like Quest Fanning.
Good luck scaring people again. I think she's talking about the H1N1. She said, people are so over COVID, they're not going to listen to any new fear-mongering crap for the next 10 years. We can only hope. Agent says Rand being based does make me happy. He can confirm that is my happy laugh. Harvey said everyone that's gotten the jab at work has been taking days off because they feel like crap. Clint says, will the new bird flu have a PR campaign? We can only hope not. Bird flu world tour 2021. Oh my God. Agent says, ding, the new bird flu. You're now free to die around the country. He says, I have no regrets about getting the Fauci ouchie. The 5G reception is great. And then we talked about China. Agent says it's because the birth rate in China has fallen below pace for the aging and death rates. Joshua said they want more people because they have a population time bomb. The population will soon be too old to go to war. They need more manpower for factories and the military. Not him says, no, I heard the eye roll over the clapping. That's good. Agent says he felt the eye roll. That's even more impressive. It's probably because you're closer geographically. Nephilium made a terrible joke. I told him to go to the timeout corner. Nephilium says, look out, J. Edgar might give money to OK Boomer Girl's boomer mom.
Maybe.
I don't understand that joke. Not him. End of show. Squirrel. Kurt's here. You're late, friend. We're done.
That's it?
Ta-da!
All right. Then I suppose I should throw some music up here, and it won't lag my computer down when I do it anymore.
And before we go, I commented on my Facebook when it was more busy. We are going to host an after-show Clubhouse chat on Clubhouse. I tweeted the link earlier, and I also stuck it in the comments on my Facebook, in the comments of the live stream on my Facebook page. So if you want to come over and hang out with us on Clubhouse, it starts at 9. So we're going to take like a 20-minute break because Ed usually eats, and I need a break at this point. So we'll pick it back up at 9 o'clock, which is in about 22 minutes, and we'll just have a little after-show chat with you guys. So
and you'll have to show me how to get it. I did sign up for Clubhouse finally today so I could participate in it. So
I will add you as a co-host, and so when I start the room, it will send you a notification and ask you if you want to join. So we'll just figure it out as we go along. And if you're brand new to Clubhouse and you don't know how to use it, I'm happy to give you a mini tutorial if you join us. So join Clubhouse.
That's me.
Yes.
All right, let's throw some music on. Let's go. All right. Well, thanks everybody who came by and chatted with us in the live chat and kept us on point, kept us on topic, brought up some stuff, including some stuff that we did forget as we went along. Apologize for that. But there was, the gun law thing, it did get swallowed up. But if you are just catching up now and you want to come back and join us on a later date, listen back and listen to the full show, you can catch us back on demand over on YouTube and over on BitChute.com as soon as all this processes. So come back and hang out with us and come check us out. Or you can come catch us on the audio platforms. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can go check us out on any of those as well. Go and pick us up. Take us on the go, and wherever you go, you can find us. I will be back here tomorrow morning for more Contemporary, where we look at the headlines. So come back and hang out with me. That is bright and early, 7 a.m. Central Time. Come and hang out with us over there. I will not be on Elaine's YouTube channel. Hopefully, I'll remember to switch that off after the show. I forget that sometimes.
You mean my Facebook channel? We've still never figured out why we can't live stream to my YouTube.
Yeah, I'll look into that at some point. But yeah, we can go and check that out. Come and hang out with me. The link is in the description over on the Facebook channel, so go and check that out. Look forward to seeing you guys and seeing you guys hanging out with these guys. And also, I do want to, before we get into the last selling of the wares, thank everybody who got us this close to monetized on Twitch. We might push over at the end of this. I'll go check the numbers, but that'll be cool as well. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. That is twitch.tv/JEdgar101. Come and hang out with us, and I do need to fix the link in the description for that too. Otherwise, we'll be back here, if you're not with me for Contemporary, next week for more of the RedNet Show. More news, more discussion, and more crazy shit coming out of the government. Hope to see you guys there. Tell a friend, tell 10 friends, and let's get those numbers up as well. So, looking forward to that. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. And, as I always say, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. Elaine, lead them out with some last words.
Have a great week. Don't do anything I wouldn't do twice. And I will see you on Clubhouse.
Take care.